So let's start up here from my balcon. It's nice and green. There's a nice refreshing breeze today and life is good. It's Monday, finished work. I was about to take my girl down to bus station so she can go back to work, go back to the capital. And yeah, I was just thinking about this weekend, thinking about dating and mating. And one thing that occurs to me is people looking for this obviously the Disney myth of like perfect Mr. Prince and Princess. Not that actually that they're good models at all, they're actually terrible models for both sexes, but in any case, that model exists, or whatever model exists, Mr. Right, Mrs. Right, whatever. And it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like, from a male point of view, what you're going to have to do is you're going to build yourself first, and then you're going to build your girlfriend. You're going to build your relationship. Okay, you get the clay. Right? You get the clay. She is the clay, and you mold her, and that's what they want as well. That's what they want as well. Your hand shapes and molds through the interactions and through the time. That's not a small detail, by the way. That's always been my experience, to be honest, of things that are good, things that go well. That's always how it is. And they, to an extent, they will mold you back in their womanly way as well. They do it in a different way, but they will do that as well. So yeah, build a better girlfriend, basically. You do need potential though to do that. I think, first of all, you need someone who's willing to be molded. Second of all, which I think actually most are. Second of all, you need someone who just basically is on a level, has a brain in their head, understands things, understands actual reality. You're out there trying to navigate actual reality. She kind of gets that. So unfortunately, the West is a fantasy land now. It's a fantasy little fucking nursery rhyme, nursery story, fucking child's playpen in the culture. And yeah, people are so far away from where they need to be. It's fucking ridiculous, to be honest. And you can say I'm wrong, but then look at the divorce rates. Actually, case in point, they back the point up that I'm making here. People don't have a fucking clue. The girls don't, and the guys don't. It's mutual. What I would say about the guys is, from what I can see, they're at least humble enough to want to go and learn how to want to be better men, and to actually be men to begin with. I don't know if I see as much of that on the other side in the West. But hey, there will always be cats. So yeah, I'm going to drop her off and then probably go and do a bit of a wander around the city, to be honest. Yeah, it's a nice day, so I will drop back in and do some more videos. Let's see what we can rustle up this afternoon. Okay, so it's pissing it down out here. So back in the cafe again on the second coffee, because I'm not paying 400 pesos for my Uber, which is like 8 quid, which is not that much, but I've got used to paying like 2 quid. So that's how it goes. Yeah, so just to follow on from the video earlier on, about basically building a better relationship, building a better woman. Yeah? You build her up, you mold her. I don't think I really need to add to that, to be honest. I think that's enough. Enough said there. You want, in a way, like if you have a girl over time who is shit, to some extent it's your responsibility, to some extent. Although, some are just naturally built that way. And the shit they're dealing with, some of the shit that like they didn't learn growing up. Do you want to be do you want to teach them everything? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's a fine line, you know, between like, you have to realize as well as the guy that they don't know what they're doing, realistically. American culture particularly has put women as the arbiter. Some of these books out there are basically about women, females' nature. Basically what they are saying is that the woman is the arbiter and she is automatically right. Ah, smoke, sí. Gracias. Descafeinado. Okay, gracias. And that's just incorrect. It's incorrect. You have your nature, she has hers. You have to realize your nature, but then also there's aspects where you might have to elevate your nature as well. And that goes for both sides. And so you have to elevate her. You've got to elevate her. So that was just on the relationship side. The next thing I want to talk about very briefly, while I'm waiting for the rain to stop, is the power of La Familia, the power of mafias, the power of gangs. The power of groups. The power of groups. I was just reading this afternoon. I was just reading about basically ancient battles and how, like, even like when the Romans were fighting the barbarians and all this type of thing. What we see in the films of this very chaotic, you know, interpersonal fighting, it wasn't like that at all. What it was just an entire line. It was much more like a scrum, and you had shields, and you were just trying to get strikes in on the guy's hand or legs or face. And actually, there weren't that many fatalities in the first battle itself. You would just smash away, hack away. Then the next line would come in, they'd do the same. And then they'd have breaks. They'd have a 15-minute break, like a half time. Literally like maybe that's why football and rugby are they're so primal. Because this really is what we are from. You know, so it was much less like cage fighting and much more like rugby, basically. And in that scenario, what happened, the way you lost a battle usually was one side eventually would start to get a little bit weakened and they'd get scared and they'd run. You know, the lines would break and they'd run. And it was only then that they would suffer real fatalities. Up to that point, they'd get some injuries, some facial and side injuries and leg injuries. They wouldn't suffer many fatalities. But when they broke the lines and they ran and they became individuals, the opponents, let's say the Romans, they come in on horseback and they would just side the guys down, bang. You know, 2-on-1, 3-on-1, bang, he's dead. And so if you were on the losing side, often the casualties were like 50%, because once the lines broke, then it would become chaos. And if you're on the winning side, the casualties were like 5%, right? Because actually during that scrimmage phase, yes, there would be casualties, but it wouldn't be massive amounts of death. It's not even a lot to aim at, you know. There's really not that much to aim at. And it was so demanding physically, you could only really fight for 5 minutes at a time. And then the next line would come in. Well, so why am I talking about that? Last thing I'll say on that, actually, is in the retreat, the guys that retreated in a group, rather than splitting off and running away as individuals, when they retreated in a group, they had a much higher survival rate, had a good chance of surviving, because the opponents would come in, the Romans would come in, and they go, there's a group of 10 over there, I can't really be bothered to go and kill them, I can just hack this guy down, or get a few kills, get these easy kills, like literally like prey, picking off stragglers, you know? So why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about battles? Because in the modern world, especially like, you know, Western guys and also guys like me, nomads, we've all gone on, you know, a dispersed different paths, our different life paths as individuals. We all want to be self-actualized, which I think is one of the stupidest things, stupidest phrases that exist in the modern world. Just another one of these psychobabble bollocks things. Self-actualization. It's like, what the fuck does that even mean? Self-actualized. In reality, we're group animals, we're pack animals, and so much of what we do, we're so much more effective, even in a pair, compared to in a single operator, as compared to like in a group of 5 or a group of 10. You're just more dangerous, you know. But that doesn't mean you can't kind of split off and do your side missions. But effectively being in a group, and that's just something I realized this years ago. Out here where I am now, I remember thinking, if I had 5 of my guys here, wherever from Sheffield or wherever from back in the day, I know we would take over large territories of this place within 5 years. We take shit over. We would take everything over. I know we would, because in a sense, like we'd be coming in with more capital. We'd be coming in from the future as well. And equally, guys, when they come in from foreign countries, they come into the UK, they come into America. Even with limited education, limited know-how, they stay in groups, do pretty fucking well for themselves. They all rent a big terrace house together. I knew guys like this, the Chilean guys in Sheffield. They rent a massive terrace house together, like, or just a terrace house together with extensions and shit on it. There's like 10 of them in there. They're all working their asses off. They're all saving. Next thing they're doing, they're going back to Chile or Ecuador or whatever, and they're buying places, or, you know, they're moving here, there and everywhere. They're getting cars going on because they're working in a pack. Meanwhile, fucking dumb European men, we're all solo operators. Then we get siphoned off with our wives and we become little solo operators there. So this is a big priority for me this year, is to return to the pack, you know, to return to being more of a pack animal, if I can. It's not always easy. But now, because of the travel I've done in the last 2 years, now in the cities that I want to go and visit again, I've got people in all these cities now. So it's like, it's much more of a starting point. And that's when I came back into this country, I came back into the capital. One of the things I loved was like, I just had a few boys here already. And even like an ex-girlfriend here as well, who was like kind of cool, like happy to see me and stuff. So yeah, it feels very different. I've discussed this in the past, like in the entourage, how gorillas, like primates, if they see a solo male, if a group sees a solo male, they'll kill him just because they can. And we are adapted from that, you know. We are conflict animals. Like it feels different when you're with a group of people as compared to being on your own. You should still be able to do stuff on your own, but like, yeah, there's a different feel. So yeah, it's going to be a priority for me next year, becoming more of a pack hound. By choice though, not because I'm like running with a crowd that I'm too afraid to go my way and say my own thing. No, by choice. So I'll leave it there. Let's check on the Uber prices. Can I scrounge an Uber for 200 pesos?